Hello, everyone. I wish you have a nice day, and we will enrich your day today with some very interesting insights on transforming food systems, healthy diets for people and planets. This is part of our lunch talk series. So, most of you maybe are already familiar with our format, and yes. I'm happy to introduce to you today um, some very interesting results from the FEAST project, which is a Horizon Europe project. And here with us, we have some crucial persons from the FEAST project, which is Irene Fabricci, Marie Maurer, and Kaja Zapědowska-Kling. I will introduce to you our speakers today. And after a short introduction to the lunch talks and to our projects, we will dive into the FEAST project, and we will have some presentations from the living labs. And then at the end, we have enough time to discuss. Please use the chat function for writing your questions, and for the discussion at the end, we will also stop the recording so that you can put your cameras on and we can discuss face by face. So, okay, then let's start. As you know, most of you know, these lunch talks developed during the EdisitNet projects. The network still exists and is expanding, also including new projects. And one of our new projects within the Edible Cities network is a project on healthy and biodiverse edible cities. And this is also the link to our presenters today. For those that are new in this call, we have so-called co-creation strategy, which is part of our mission. We focus on so-called edible city solutions that overcome the mismatch between nature-based solutions and citizens by deepening the social dimension of nature-based solutions. We aim to mainstream successful co-creation practices with these edible city solutions. These solutions are socially inclusive, invite citizens to co-create the sustainable development of their societies, and to proactively change the urban environment to the benefit of all, and to introduce also a paradigm shift to lifestyle, which will be also one of the topics today. And we, in general, in all projects, we co-create communities of knowledge and practice, which are essential for researchers to learn a lot from the communities. We have a really broad scope on edible city solutions. So also what the FEAST project is implementing are part of these solutions in our definition. So we look not only on urban agriculture or urban gardening or things like this. We take all forms of food production and distribution and consumption in urban areas into account. And from ecological point of view, of course, we try to combine closed loop systems for water, nutrient, and waste management, but also measures to foster urban diversity and health. And of course, in this sense, we use innovative designs, ecological design, closed material and energy flows. Now in the new project, we have a stronger focus on healthy and biodiversity-friendly edible cities. And only to bring you on board with this biodiversity issue, we have quite a lot of evidence that biodiversity supports the provision of ecosystem services in general. Biodiversity makes happy, and biodiversity supports public and planetary health. So the aim is to support biodiversity where people live and work. And of course, biodiversity is quite attractive. So this is in the focus of our new projects, and within the new project, we implement 40 community gardens in Germany. It's a national project funded by the National Ministry of Education and Science. We develop the guidelines for implementation of biodiversity-friendly community gardens in municipalities. And in the scientific aspect, we study the effects of species-rich community gardens on health of adults. And of course, we also look on the biodiversity patterns in and around the gardens and how this is interlinked with the urban matrix in general. So, but today we focus on the link between healthy diet and the transformation of food systems. And as I mentioned, we have here colleagues from the FEAST project. This project aims to catalyze the transition to a healthy and sustainable food system. And it has in total 12 different living labs working, co-creating and testing innovative solutions to tackle these challenges in the intersection between health and food. And they start mostly from vulnerable groups. Yes, and we will get some more insights on the general project from Irene Fabricci. She starts with the presentation. She's working for ICLA Europe, which most of you know. She's a sustainable food system expert, and yeah, ICLA is quite engaged in different Horizon Europe projects. One of them is FEAST, and as I understand, Irene will give more insights on this. ICLA is coordinating the 12 FEAST Living Labs, and she will give us some more insights. So I would like to give the floor to Irene.
Great, thank you so much, Ina. Well, first of all, thanks, Ina and Stephanie, for the opportunity to present the FEAST project. As Ina mentioned, I work at ICLA Europe, and our role is to sort of coordinate the knowledge exchange between the living labs that are part of FEAST. Let me give you a brief introduction to FEAST. Next slide. FEAST is a Horizon Europe project that includes 35 partners in 15 countries. And FEAST's mission is to make it easy for every person in Europe to eat a delicious, healthier, more sustainable diet. Within the project, the 12 living labs develop and test community-based solutions for this food system transition. And the living labs differ in size, in location, meaning they're urban or rural, as well as the actors involved, which includes local governments, research institutions, or civil society organizations, or often a combination of these three types of actors. Next slide. FEAST is just a brief overview of the work that's done in FEAST. Is very broad, and it's trying to understand dietary transition from multiple entry points. So looking from mapping and monitoring dietary patterns and food environments to understand impact of sustainability measures, these into policy recommendations. What we're talking about today, if you can click, there's a transition. What we're talking about today is the living labs that focus on co-developing community-based solutions and co-developing tech-based solutions. So some of the living labs work on more analog solutions, and others work on solutions. Next. So the purpose of the living to essentially go beyond the one-size-fits-all solutions for food systems issues, and rather co-create solutions that account for local contextual factors, such as local food cultures or local resource constraints, labs, cities, local governments, community organizations, and citizens work together to design and implement strategies that aim to increase the sustainability of the local dietary habits, as well as food procurement practices and food system policies. And as Ina mentioned earlier, marginalized and vulnerable groups are at the center of these activities to ensure that we see a just transition for all European stakeholders. Next. Here you're going to have to click a bit. Yeah. So the types of interventions that the Living Labs are working on are related to different topics. So some of the Living Labs focus on multiple of these types of interventions. One is, for instance, food education, working with different groups that could be children or elderly populations, teachers, or local government officials. Then some Living Labs focus on public procurement, meaning how to make public procurement, especially for school meals, more sustainable, and linking it to sort of local development. Others Living Labs. Can you not hear me? You can
hear you.
Sorry,
Fine.
so I put it in the chat. Other Living Labs focus on working with local farmers. That could be related to public procurement, how to create market dialogues that basically ensure that the conditions for public procurement are also fitting to the possibilities and needs of the local farmers, or, for example, geomapping the presence of local farmers in the area. And another type of intervention is at the neighborhood level, which means looking more at the sort of spatiality of the food system and looking, for instance, at the food environment, or looking at food hubs that can be developed within the neighborhood. Next, and then next slide. I just want to bring to your attention that we are now coming into a phase of the project where we will be working on replication, which means we will select additional actors that can come into the FEAST project to establish regular exchange between the Living Labs and the replicators that would like to sort of reproduce what's been done in the Living Labs into their own context. And the idea is to sort of foster reflection and learning on how to design interventions for healthy and sustainable diets. And in March, we will launch the call for applications for this. And by June, we aim to have selected the replicators and kicking off the replication process from October 25, and then until the end of the project, which is in 2027. So if you're interested, there's going to be more information also on the website soon. And you can also ask me questions at the end. And that is it from my side. I think there's a short slide with the consortium, actually. But I'm very excited to pass the word to Kaja and Marie, who will present the concrete work that they're doing in their Living Labs and the incredible results that they've already achieved. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Irene. And maybe we can also post then the link to your website on our website when the launch is approaching, and share this also with our community. Okay, so we go on. Discussions we will then do later, and I'm happy to introduce Marie Mauer. She's project manager of one of the FEAST Living Labs. The Living Lab is in Leuven, and she coordinates the tech Living Labs within the FEAST project. She works for Leuven 2030, which is an organization that is one of the driving forces towards a climate neutral Leuven in 2030. And it should be also mentioned that Leuven has been selected as one of the EU mission cities. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ina. You basically took words out of my mouth for the first slide, so you can go to that one. Thank you. So we're going to talk about Leuven Living Lab today, and you can go to the next slide, and I will continue on what you just basically said. So as we work together with the Tech Living Labs, next to also being a living lab ourselves, the Tech Living Labs are 4. We're working together with Ghent, Prelab, and Oxfordshire, and then us from Leuven. And it's basically working around 2 technological ideas. The one is eco-food maps, so how you can map food systems, basically. And the other one is about community action platforms. So how can you engage communities via technological means as a support? And I also put in this slide our food strategy, which by coincidence will be presented tomorrow in a talk we organized from Feast. So if you want, I can put the link below. It will be presented by a colleague of mine. You can go to the next slide. Okay, the format has a bit changed, but it's not so bad. I'm gonna be able to read it anyway. So the main focus of our Living Lab is we want to support the citizens of Leuven that are in vulnerable positions. So we focus on social economic vulnerability, and we want to help them to be able to make more healthy food choices, to present them also with more healthy food choices, and to develop more healthy food patterns. And we have partnered for that with an organization that works together with people in vulnerable positions, SAMO, and together we have engaged stakeholders that work around the topic of food and vulnerable groups. And together with them, we are working on this living lab, basically. And our focus then is the digital one. So we want to see in how far can digital apps support stakeholders, collaboration, and trigger individual and collective action, which we then assume that will then be able to have more impact on the vulnerable groups themselves. We focus on 3 different parts. The first one is our collective action platform that we have just launched. It's a closed platform. It's called Gezond Leuven, so a healthy Leuven, basically. And there we are combining different stakeholders, the organizations that we just said, so not the vulnerable people themselves, but the people that work with them. And we are giving them a space to communicate, to share knowledge, and so on. And we want to see if this will have an impact on their work and the food habits. Then we also have the eco-food map. And eco-food map is basically mapping the whole food system. That's a map that everybody can see, so I can post a link in a second. And there you can see the initiatives, the different actors, but also indicators on how to measure the food system. And then we work within this project with KU Leuven. And they are also studying persuasive communication. So they are looking at how social media can be used to see how they can maybe enhance dietary habits, and they are focusing on adolescents. And basically this spring, their study will be starting. So I don't have any results of that yet, but we're in a high phase of preparing that, and they will become available after that. We also do this study in the other 3 Tech Living Labs, just so that you have a whole picture. I can go to the next slide, please. Okay, now we have normal format again. I'm happy. So this is just a quick overview of what we do. I already explained it. So we try to combine real life action and digital action because we believe that the digital component can be a catalyzer for especially people working in organizations where maybe food is not the main topic. People don't have a lot of time, so it also helps to find each other at not the right point. But it also all circles around connection. So we don't believe you just give a platform and then you say, okay, thank you, and you just adhere a platform and we'll go. That's not how it works. That's also, I think, what we already experienced. But so we're doing two. We are combining, we're creating a network, and we're combining real life and digital action in our living lab. And above on the left side, you can see us having a workshop with the different stakeholders to see what the needs are. For example, then you can see our website, the Gezond Leuven. On the right, you can see a cooking workshop that we did in one of the community restaurants. And then you can see a focus group photo as well, and our eco-food map. And then you can go to the next slide, please. Yes, so we are still working on the project. For the tech living labs, we are not in the phase yet where we're at replication stage, but we're still actively working on this part. But I thought that maybe it's interesting to have a look at a few challenges that we have experienced and how we try to approach them. Might also be interesting for discussion later. So I have 3 challenges for you related to our work. The first one is specifically for the eco-food map. And this is a challenge I think we also discovered with the other living labs that work around this. So eco-food map is basically a website that in our case covers everything that's living around the food system. The history is that we had our food strategy, then we built this website to be able to see the food system, but also to be able to measure how it's progressing. But I think one challenge we had was to keep data up to date, because we don't have one person that is 100% on top of the ecosystem. And that's also, I think, not what you would have, but also not what you would want. You want the website to live by itself. So how we approach that is we have now enabled community updates. So basically before there was only the admins that were able to add data. And as a person, you could suggest data, but then the admin would have to accept it. So you have a lot of bottleneck at the admin's time. Now you can easily register your own initiatives. You can have a look at your data, and you can do it in a way that saves time. So you can do community updates, basically. And then we also have indicators on this site. So for example, you can see how many vegetable gardens you have in Leuven and how they progress over time, to make a link with your project in the beginning. And to not have to manually update them, we have just joined forces with UCLL that have looked at exploring data scraping for automatic updates. So they have developed a tool where we could insert the data and then we could check how these, with expat, but that's technical. But so basically you can check if a certain number has changed on the website, and then the system can notify you and can tell you, you might want to check this because maybe now it's 17 gardens and not 15. And so you don't have to continuously check 60 pages at the same time, for example. And then I'll go to challenge 2, because I have to also keep in mind of the time. Then testing a digital platform was a challenge itself, because with the stakeholders we worked with, digital was not the first thing they thought of to tackle the different needs that they were, or the challenges that they were. And so we kind of tackled this by really listening to the needs that they had, and to see that we find a solution that can fit their needs. Also to combine it with in-person actions, because people said, yeah, a website is nice or a platform is nice, but we also really want this personal interaction. So now, for example, we are starting a trajectory, a first one actually, to test our platform with community restaurants. And we offer them different things. They will be using the platform, but they will also be getting, for example, cooking workshops for the cooks themselves, and activities like this. So by combining the two, I think we have triggered their interest, and we can also really test the platform, because of course, if you say, okay, we want to test the platform, you also kind of have to put it into relation and to give a focus on the topic to be able to do that. And we've also decided to not add everybody at the same time on the platform, but only when there's content relevant for them. might sound very logical, but I think a lot of times when we do platforms, we will be like, okay, we open it up for 50 people, but the first views are very important. And so if you go on there and you have the feeling, this is maybe not interesting for me, then you might not go there the second time. So that's why we try to go with faces to win trust over time. And then challenge 3. Yeah, so this is about changing food habits. I think something that is coming back in a lot of living labs of my colleagues and also a lot of other projects. Within the community restaurants, we still have a lot of traditional meals. They will be very similar to, I guess, what Kaja will be presenting in a while, like the traditional, actually also the traditional German plates, you know, like potato and then meats and then, I don't know, maybe you're happy to have some kale next to it. What we did here, what was interesting, just to give you an example, is we had used actually a community restaurant kitchen to do a workshop. And we were combining, it was a workshop for the cooks themselves, they were able to join, but also for school cooks. And it was interesting to create trust during the workshop because the threshold was quite high to just join a workshop like this, but the people were there. So we made connection throughout the workshop, and we were allowed to use the different kitchen items and so on. You know, there was an opening created, and then we had a tasting moment in the end where people were there and they were able to taste. And it was very interesting because it was a vegetarian cook that cooks also for school meals, and everybody was eating the food, but we didn't talk about vegetarian because we also noticed within our work that speaking about vegetarian, even speaking about healthy, you know, it can have a lot of barriers because it can be like, yeah, those people are telling us what to do. And by the way, I already eat healthy. So there's a lot of importance in what words you use. But basically, we just let them try the food that we have cooked. And they all tried it. And like after half an hour, somebody was like, oh, actually, this is vegetarian. And then the cook said, yeah, it's vegetarian. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't think so. And actually, it's yummy. So that was just a very nice experience that we had in the course of our trajectory. Yeah, so that's just 3 challenges. I saw there was already a question, but we'll leave that for later. Happy to hear more or to connect afterwards. Give the word to Kaja.
So I have also some words, Kaja, before you start. Yeah, I'm happy to introduce Kaja Zapědowska-Kling. She's an assistant professor at the Faculty of International and Political Studies from the University of Lodz. And yeah, Kaja is involved in this Feast Horizon Europe project and responsible for the coordination of the activities in the Living Lab of Lodz. And we will learn now a bit about this Living Lab. So Kaja, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ina. Yes, so let me introduce our Living Lab. As you could see on the map at the beginning of Irene's presentation, we are the only partner from Poland in the FEAST project. And by the Living Lab, we understand the cooperation between the University of Łódź. So we are a team of researchers who decided to focus on elderly people, on seniors as our selected vulnerable group. And this choice was determined by our previous experience and expertise in social policies and senior policies and social gerontology. So we focused on seniors, as far as I know, as the only partner in FEAST as well, because the majority of partners represent living labs focused on schools and children and teenagers or local communities like regions, cities, and municipalities. So we are a little bit different because our living lab is relatively small. It's just a senior home. It's a single institution, a senior home located in Tuszyn municipality in the suburbs of the city of Łódź in central Poland. And the population of the senior home is 21 residents in the age range between 60 and 96. We have 18 women and 3 men. Their economic status is rather low or middle. we have no racial or ethnic diversity among the residents. And when we consider the potential inequalities within the team, there are 3 people who have some symptoms of dementia, and 1 wheelchair user and 2 users of portable walkers. So although we are a relatively small living lab focused on the seniors, there is a huge potential for upscaling, because our senior home is a member of the governmental network of more than 200 senior homes funded through the Ministry of Family and Social Policy. So we are planning, after the series of interventions, we are planning to publish and distribute recommendations to other senior homes belonging to the same ministerial network. How could I describe the food culture of the senior home? So first of all, when we entered the facility, we realized that meals play a very important integrating role, and that they accompany the celebration of different holidays, like local holidays, national holidays, even personal occasions such as birthday, for example. And also the shared meals in the senior home symbolize the home-like warmth and coziness. So they make the very fact of coming to the facility more attractive to seniors. And initially, when we joined the project 2 years ago, there was not much reflection among the residents on either the origin or the quality of meals. However, what I emphasize, it has changed after our interviews and after our interventions. Can I ask for the next slide, please? Yes, so what are our main goals? So first of all, from the theoretical point of view, we want to demonstrate the link between nutrition and healthy aging. And there is plenty of research available proving that there is never too late for the healthy diet, and changing your customer choices and changing your nutritional choices is always a good option for your health, regardless of the age. Also, we, at the beginning of the project, as the university employees, we started from raising consciousness on the importance of healthy diets in adult life. That's why we started from the series of workshops and mini lectures, actually providing small portions of theory to seniors and to the staff of the facility, because they lacked knowledge, and we were surprised by the lack of knowledge. Seniors actually don't know what is a sustainable diet. They interpret the term sustainable diet as a balanced diet, diversified diet, and they have no knowledge on the connection between environment and ecology and customer choices. So we had a lot to do in terms of education at the beginning. And of course, we also started looking very carefully on the weekly menus of the senior home and analyzing the quality of the menus, which appeared to be very undiversified. So as Marie said, mostly potatoes with red meat and sauce and gravy, yes. This was the traditional meal appearing 5 days per week. Only, the form of the meat was changed. And we also, at the beginning of the project, decided that one of our first interventions must be increasing the availability of fresh vegetables, fruit, and herbs to seniors. And the easiest way to achieve it was just to establish a veggie garden on the area of the senior home. So it had mutual advantages, because it provided access to fresh veggies, but on the other hand, it offered occupational therapy to seniors who really enjoyed cultivating the seedlings and taking care of them on their own. And what we do right now is to offer practical hints and solutions on how to improve diets without significant financial outlays. That's why, for example, we started a series of meetings called Yoga Classes with Healthy Breakfast. And we bring different vegan options for breakfast for seniors, and we let them taste new dishes. Can I ask for the next slide, please? So now I will very quickly explain how we achieve our goals. Of course, this is not the complete list of our activities, but I focus on the most important ones. So we started from the series of workshops and mini lectures, and we established vegetable garden in 2 different rounds, because in 2023, we established a traditional on-ground garden, and then we realized that physical impairments of seniors actually disabled them to actively involve in cultivating the seedlings. So that's why the next year we designed and installed and elevated garden beds to help especially the wheelchair users to get engaged in gardening as well. One of the most important interventions is connected with procurement procedure. So this senior home, as I mentioned, is part of the governmental program. So this is a public institution, and it's regulated by the procurement regulations, laws. So also to have the external provider of meals, it's obligatory each calendar year to organize a public competitorship and publish a tender announcement. And usually the cheapest provider was selected by the mayor of the municipality and by the manager of the facility. So what we managed to do, and it was not easy due to bureaucracy and due to some, how should I say, partnerships, local partnerships that are not always transparent. But we forced the manager of the facility to add 3 additional criteria to the tender announcement. And you can see the criteria on the slide. So the first one is at least 1 vegetarian meal per week. Secondly, 1 piece of seasonal fruit with every meal. And third, veggies, particularly raw salads, prepared in a way that residents can easily consume. Because this was one of the problems diagnosed, that usually seniors got raw salads that were not chopped properly. They were very often made of white cabbage, and they were always thrown away without even tasting. So we decided that something must change definitely. So now seniors have more cooked veggies and steamed veggies, and they like them very much. The Yoga with Healthy Breakfast, this is a relatively new initiative. The certified yoga instructor arrives to the senior center and conducts a short yoga class in the morning, and then we, the feast team, offer the healthy breakfast for seniors. We always ask for their opinions. So we always ask, what would you like to try next? So we are open to suggestions. We try to also adapt our breakfasts to the season. So for example, in winter, we offered more warm dishes like oatmeal based on plant milk, for example, and ginger spice. And in spring, more raw options and more green options. And another initiative that we successfully introduced was to equip the facility with blenders, and we showed seniors how to prepare green cocktails, nutritious cocktails easily. And this is one of the best form for them to combine healthy oils and healthy dairies and healthy veggies and leaves and fruit together in one cocktail and consume it once a day. And it definitely improves the quality of their diet. So I'm finishing right now with the description, and I would like to show a few pictures at the end. So can I ask for the next slide? Yeah, this is one of our elevated garden beds and the community. The next one, please. This is the process of planting the seedlings, and seniors are always actively engaged in the process. So they do not only observe, but they also work physically with us, and they really take care of the plants. But we also invite students from the university to do the hardest physical work and to accompany seniors with these tasks. The next one, please. Here you can see the example of a meal that was prepared thoroughly from the veggies planted on their own. So this is the meal prepared from their own tomatoes and zucchini. This is lecho, and they really enjoyed it. They were very happy they could prepare their own meal. The next, please. This is our team, and we offer a series of mini lectures. This one is dedicated to the role of spices and herbs in seniors' diet. The next one, please. We also pay attention to tasting. Seniors really love tasting new things, and we were astonished that they really don't know many products. They don't know what is guacamole or hummus or black caraway seed or linseed oil or crown veg. So these are the products that are present in everyday healthy diet, and they don't know they even exist. So on the picture, you may see me showing them what is ginger, how it, what is the flavor, and what is, the taste of ginger. And Arthur, one of the team members, also prepared sushi for them to try. And some of them tried sushi for the first time in their lives, which was also very moving for us. And the next one. And on the right, you can see one of our workshops. We prepared the pyramid of healthy eating. So we discussed which particular nutrients are the most important for their health and what should be the proportions of the healthy diet. The next one, please. And our presence in the senior home is not only practical, but we also conducted a series of individual semi-structured interviews with the seniors. They are recorded, so you can see our team members with the recorders in our hands. And what I want to show by these pictures is that we quite quickly gained their trust. So they know us and they are accustomed to our presence and they trust us. And it was not easy at the beginning. So there is a very clear emotional bond between the residents and the FEAST team. The next one. And this is the yoga class and some pictures from the healthy breakfast session. Is it the last one? I don't remember. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Irene, Marie, and Kaja. And sorry for pronouncing a wrong watch. yeah, here you can find all the informations to get more informations on Feast, the YouTube channel, and all the emails. We will share this as well then later on. And I would now go to the question session, and I will have a look on the chat first. And maybe Stephanie, you can help me with a first question, and then I go through the amount of questions we have here.
Yeah, there was a question to Marie from Christina. Do you think about extending the project at regional level? Is there any cooperation with the province of Flemish Brabant in this project?
Let me unmute myself. I think we first have to see what results we're able to book. We work together with partners that also have connections to Flanders, but right now we're not. It's not concrete yet. But if there are ideas to maybe do something with our ideas, feel happy to contact me afterwards, and we can see the phase for the tech living labs, like the main testing phase is between now and next year in spring. So I think then we will have more ideas on how it worked and what had the most impact and what would be interesting to scale.
Okay. A question from Vladimir. I guess this goes to everyone from our panel today. What do you think which problem must be solved on the interdisciplinary level of researchers, or what? Let's say, what is the what is the interdisciplinary added value of the research part, let's say, of your living labs? Any thoughts about this? Maybe Kaja, you with your the insights from the elderlies.
Yes, the Polish Feast team is very interdisciplinary because I represent social sciences and political sciences, and the local coordinator, Alexandra, represents humanities and particularly gender studies. So she takes care on the quality within the project. And Artur, the last member, represents the discipline of management and quality studies. And we can see very clearly the synergy effect that comes from our cooperation, because we focus on completely different aspects of our interventions. So I think from the political perspective, how to introduce changes and how to maintain the changes beyond the duration of the Feast project. Also, we communicate with the local authorities, and we inform the local authorities about our interventions. And when the project finalizes in 2027, we hope to find financing for the prolonged activity of the university team. And Alexandra is an expert on gender equality. So in the interviews that we conduct, she, for example, focuses on gender roles within the facility, but also at home. So she asks questions: who prepares meals in your family, for example, or who used to prepare meals in your childhood? Yes, was it a father or a mother or a grandmother or a nanny, whoever? So, and Artur, the discipline of management and quality, he, for example, brings technological foresight to the project, and he thinks about the combination of our interventions with new technologies, with potential IT applications that could be helpful for seniors in the future to stick to healthy dietary choices. So, you know, I believe in interdisciplinary approach, and I believe in diversity management and constructing the research teams in such a way that we have different overviews. I'm not sure if this answered your question or not.
Oh, hopefully, Marie, do you you are working with digital tools, and your focus group is more on adolescents or the other spectrum, let's say, of people. If I'm informed well, do you have something to add regarding transdisciplinary work in the Living Lab in Leuven?
Yeah, so we are also, I think, working transdisciplinary, but I'm not from the research side, I'm more from the practice side, and there we try to engage different partners. Our colleagues from KU Leuven with their study, they focus mainly on adolescents, but in our Living Lab itself, we focus on the socio-economic vulnerable groups, and right now it's more in the spectrum of adults. When I look to the community restaurants, there is a lot of similarities to the population of Kaja, of her senior home. So it's more it's not elderly, but it's more older people. But I think working with different with different people that have different backgrounds and so on is can be beneficial in a lot of ways. Around the research aspect, that's not my expertise, so I can't speak about that. But within our Living Lab, we also try to work with different partners. So we not only focus on one group of organization, but for example, we work together with the community workers, but then we also work with the city, and then we also work with the different around schools, with local health centers. So we try to be a bit interdisciplinary, let's say, with the stakeholders that we engage. Just to add to that question.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe to move forward a bit, there are questions to Kaja regarding the scenes that you reported from tasting new foods. There is a question from Trin. She wanted to understand more about why you would focus on trying new foods when it would be also an option to take the foods of older people that older people eat and trying to make them healthier. Maybe some thoughts about this, or I'm sure that you are doing this as well. Or
yes, actually we do both. But the point is, this is a daycare center. So this is not a place where they sleep and live. They just come there every day from Monday to Friday, and they consume only the lunch there. I mean, there is the 2-dish warm meal in the midday, which they consume together, but they have to prepare breakfast on their own at home. And they also have to do the shopping or cook for themselves on weekends, which is sometimes challenging. And we are showing them that with the same amount of money, they can buy different products that are healthier, because of their age, maybe because of their culture, they are very accustomed to traditional diet, like white bread and ham and butter. This is typical breakfast or supper. So that's why we decided to show them and to let them taste new products such as hummus, guacamole, and plant-based dishes, and plant-based milk and dairy products and goat milk, etc. Because this was something new. Maybe also we still have this label of eco products and organic food as luxurious in Poland, expensive. So we are trying to break this stereotype. But definitely right now the professional nutritionist, is analyzing the collection of menus from the last quarter of 2024, and there will be changes introduced to the menus of the warm lunch that they consume at the facility. So we do both parallelly.
Okay, thank you. There's a question maybe that Irene, you could compare or think about in the 12 living labs that you know very well within the FEAST project. There's a question from Sophia. If you look on these different cities and settings, is there enough space to grow veggies in the cities or in these places, in these community places? Do you think to expand veggie growing into community spaces like park, schools, etc.? Do you have some observations from the different living labs?
Indeed, that's a very interesting question, and it also connects very well to the role of the municipalities in sort of mapping and understanding where there is space available, and also creating the sort of partnerships that are necessary for this kind of expansion. So if we think about graveyards, the need to talk with churches, or if we talk about space in schools, the need to talk with the school administration. So there's definitely different options for expanding this food production within the city. And in fact, Kaja was also mentioning this to me in previous conversations, that they also connected to the company that prepares the meals for the daycare center, and they have land that is available. And once they saw the work that they were doing in the daycare center, they also thought, oh, we could do this here as well. Maybe Kaja, you want to, because I think it's a very unique example of how also just word of mouth and inspiration can bring about innovative solutions for food growing.
And Irene, in addition to this, maybe, and then Kaja could also add some thoughts about this. Why there are so few living labs focusing on seniors? Why there are kids and schools, etc., are more attractive for living lab designers? What is your thought about this? Why this is a unique living lab, not only in FEAST, also in my perception, the elderlies are not in the focus of the living labs in general.
Yeah, indeed. I would say that is because it is easier. Children are in schools, and they are already in the space that it is structured and connected to the municipalities. It's much easier to access these spaces, whereas seniors is a much broader and thoroughly distributed group. And there are opportunities, for instance, in daycare centers or in senior homes, but it's much harder to access. And living labs usually start from something that is a bit simpler, just because of the need to have you have a limited amount of time within these projects usually, so you want to get started, and you usually build on what's already there also. And also, like, it's good to have an initial win to also gain political support from the municipality, and eventually also find hopefully additional funding that can make the intervention more sustainable.
Yeah,
What I can add to Irene is that we associate the process of socialization, the process of education, with childhood and with young age. And now we all understand that lifelong learning is real, and that it's never too late to change your habits. And maybe I live in a bubble, in a scientific bubble, because all of my activities are around seniors, around elderly population, but definitely within the FEAST project, we are unique. And what is important, this generation, elderly generation, people who were born in the 40s or in the 50s, they did not get any proper education in terms of healthy diet. And this reply is very clearly visible in interviews. They were never informed by neither parents nor teachers how they should, consume, how they should take care of their health. And this is something new for them. And I think the topic will become more and more popular in Europe, focusing on elderly, because very quickly, from the geriatric point of view, we can very quickly observe improvements in subjective well-being assessment after changing customer choices and dietary choices. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you all. Well, again, thank you for these nice presentations. There was also in the chat comment that there is a urban farming project in Frankfurt with elderly people. So here you have all the emails. Chris, you can contact Kaja and share your experiences. And thank you, Irene. Thank you, Kaja. Thank you, Marie, for these nice insights. Yeah, because the hour is over, and I really appreciate your inputs. We will share also the links, and not only in the chat as we've done so far, also below the video later. And yeah, we invite you, of course, to our next lunch talk as well. And we will pick up some of the topics you mentioned, maybe also regarding these extra values of transdisciplinary work. This could be a topic in the near future. And yeah, thank you all for this nice, inspiring hour. And yeah, let's keep in contact. And yeah, we will send you the invitation for our next talk. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Kaja. Thank you, Marie. And thank you, Stephanie, for your work in the background.